This year had some fantastic Souls-like games, and fortunately I played 5 of them. Blasphemous 2, Wukong, Lords of the Fallen, Lies of P, and Jedi Survivor. Now you might be asking two things. One, why is Jedi Survivor on this list? And two, where is Remnant 2? To answer the first question, well, I think that a Souls-like doesn't have to be a direct copy of the Soulsborne games. I think if the game takes a few inspiration from the Souls games, it should be considered a Souls-like. And to answer the second question, well, I'm broke as I can't be buying games left and right. So yeah. No, let's rank my favorite slash best Souls-like bosses from this year. By the way, spoilers for these games. At number 5, we have Everturn or whatever, or however you want to pronounce the fucking name. First of all, this guy is probably the second hardest boss fight on the list. Now, why did I put him on the top 5 best bosses of this year? Well, first of all, his arena looks dope. It's like the old cathedral looking era we as Souls-like fans are used to, and you have your dead friend in the middle while clashing with this guy. It feels, what's the word? Cinematic. His first phase is pretty simple and easy, however, it's his second phase where he cranks everything up to 11. All of a sudden, bro went from a sorcerer to a wannabe anime swordsman. I mean, bro's dashing out sword slashes left and right, flipping all over the screen, and some of his attacks felt like it covered half of the arena and shit. Now, as much as I love fighting hard bosses, this guy almost brought me to the point where I had to cheese him with the mace and the, what's it called again, the time stop ability. I forgot its name, which I'm pretty sure the devs nerfed because, let's be honest, that shit was OP as hell. So overall, this guy truly felt like a final boss, even though there was one more fight after him, and he deserves this spot. At 4th place, we have the Judge Cleric from Lords of the Fallen. I was thinking of putting Pieta or Dervla here, but I chose the Judge instead. Pieta, while being a fun fight, kinda lacks in her moveset, but she gets a pass since she is literally the first actual boss of the game. For Dervla, her moveset is pretty cool, but for some reason the devs made her have the lamest second phase I've ever seen. I thought she would turn into some badass looking cool version of herself or some shit, but with an even cooler moveset, but instead they made her turn into this crab walking monstrosity with a lame ass moveset. Like, what? She looked like she just got dicked down or something. I don't know. Anyways, the judge, on the other hand, had two things the previous bosses I mentioned lacked: a cool second phase and a vast moveset. Her first phase is actually really fun because of the amount of shit she throws at you. First of all, Shorty has a sword and a war spear, halberd, whatever you want to call it, which is just dope. Her second phase is cool too, since most of her abilities goes from radiance based to inferno based, which basically means she has fire based abilities now. Now, the only thing I really didn't like about her fight is her awful second phase cutscene, but other than that, she is a pretty cool boss fight and my personal favorite boss in Lords of the Fallen. Now, at number 3, we have Lubu. When I first heard about Lubu, it was from Records of Ragnarok, and apparently this guy was a real life dude. So I was fucking shocked to find out he was not only in that, but also in some other games as well, apart from this one. It had me thinking, well, what was so special about this guy for them to be glazing him like this? Because I'm pretty sure bro wasn't doing all this shit in real life. Anyways, all jokes aside, as a boss, this guy's in my opinion the best fight in Wukong. Because while all the other bosses in the game were kind of pushovers, this guy was the only one that gave me a super hard time. I'm thankful for that because it made me appreciate his boss fight even more. Now, this guy doesn't really have a true second phase because it feels more like a cycle. And by that I mean once you knock him off his horse, he doesn't just stop using his horse for the rest of the fight. Instead, you fight him for a little bit until he's ready to call his horse again. So the main objective of the fight is to knock him off his horse and do as much damage as possible till he calls it again, and then rinse and repeat, and that's basically the whole fight. It sounds way less fun the way I described it, but trust me, Lubu was a really fun and amazing boss fight, and that's why he deserves the number 3 spot. At number 2, we have Gara from Jedi Survivor, specifically his third fight. The main reason I put this one so high is the cinematic feeling it has and the story relevance. I really like when the bosses have cool ass cutscenes, especially for their second or third phases. Speaking of phases, this guy's first phase isn't so hard, but his final phase where he summons clones and creates a force arm is really fucking hectic. But overall, he's still a fun fight at the end of the day, and he plays an important part of the story. I know I didn't spend a lot of time talking about Dagon, but it's because I'm eager to talk about the number 1 spot. Now, if you've played Lies of P, you'll probably guess which boss I'm going to talk about next. If you guessed Luxasia or Luxasia, then you are correct. Luxasia is my personal favorite Souls-like boss fight. No, not just for this year, but of all time. By the way, I'm talking about Souls-likes, not Souls game. Some people tend to confuse the two. She has everything that I love in a boss fight. Great art design, a fantastic soundtrack and playing in the back, a fantastic cinematic feeling, and really cool moveset. Let's talk more about the design. I said this before in a previous video that my favorite types of bosses, whether it's a Souls-like or Souls games, are bosses that are blade-wielding humanoids, especially if they are fine-ass baddies. Bosses like Melania, Lady Maria, the Judge from Lords of the Fallen, Emma, and Krishanta from Blasphemous. I don't know, maybe I have some sort of weird kink, but I love all of them. They're some of my favorite bosses of all time. Okay, that's beside the point. Not only does Luxasia fits the cool humanoid blade wielding boss category, but she's also a baddie as well. But that's not the only thing I like. I really love how vast her moveset is, even though she's a bit too fast in her second phase in my personal opinion. But that makes sense since in her first phase after defeating her, she gets rid of her big ass kinky ass armor. Speaking of phases, in her second phase, once she incorporates lightning in her arsenal, you better get good at deflecting cause she shoots lightning balls at you which can be deflected back at her, but sometimes she'll deflect them bitches right back, so be careful. In terms of cinematicness, her second phase intro is also really cool. Like on the first time, it really gave me a lot of, I don't know, it gave me chills on my first playthrough due to how good the voice acting for her is. Also, I forgot to mention how hard she is. Like, she's no joke. She's definitely the hardest boss on this list and top 5 hardest bosses I've ever fought in a video game. Now, I kind of get why some people call her Melania 2.0, but I think that's more respect than disrespect. Hold up, I'm just realizing something. Both are sword-wielding baddies. They both strip down in their second phase. Both are fast as hell in their second phases, giving you little time to attack. They both spend an awful amount of time in the air doing attacks, and they both got a fat ass. So damn, now I think about it, she really is Melania 2.0. Holy shit. So overall, those were my top 5 favorite Souls-like bosses of this year. Really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more content like this, hit a like, hit subscribe, and I hope you guys have a good night or a good day.
Close to you, I feel good, 'cause I just don't feel it.